Welcome back, Mayor Gordon, Chief Weathers. You just mentioned all of the things that the police department and the city is doing, but I want to talk to Adrienne Wallace really quickly here. Where is the disconnect then? Because if all these things are happening, I still feel like there's something is not getting through, right? Where do you think the changes actually need to be made?
Well, just to kind of piggyback on what the chief was saying, I've worked with the last three chiefs of police pretty closely, and we agree that a lot of the issues that police face are not their job. They shouldn't have to work with mental health and housing and social services. But at the same time, the majority of our city's budget goes towards public safety. And so we have to make sure that we're looking at the budget. And I know that's a tough job for a mayor. And so when we're talking about defunding the police, as they said, it's about reducing, looking at the budget as Dr. King said, as a moral document, and making sure that we have money for affordable housing and other social services. And I think that the disconnect just comes in people feeling like the police aren't there to actually serve and protect. And I'll say in Lexington, we have a great department. The chief's great. We have really good police officers, but across the nation, the issue is we have this issue that's systemic since slavery with the overseer, and that is what the police has basically become in many instances. And people don't feel like who are paid by their tax dollars that they're actually there to serve and protect them.
And I think something that I've really tried to learn during the last few years is the history, right? So it's not one incident here, one incident there, it's the history. Reverend Williams, I don't know if this is going to be an uncomfortable question or not, but what can white people do?
One thing that white people can do is listen. A lot of times in these spaces where we're talking about race issues and racial injustice, white people have a tendency to want to fix it and to create the answer, maybe get a little input from you, sometimes even talk over you while you're trying to give them some insight into what is going on from your perspective. So first thing that is needed is for people to listen, whether it's elected officials or others that need to be in support. Another thing that we have to do is we have to look at this beyond any particular symptom. Issues that we have with distrust with law enforcement, and those are real issues. I'm thankful, grateful that we've had a peaceful situation here in Lexington, and that's certainly a credit to our police department here, but there are still distrust issues here. But the symptom is really when we find things like disparate treatment with law enforcement or any number of other specific things like that. One of the more root situations that we're dealing with, it's an economic thing. Where are dollars being spent? In the public sector, I was just listening when we talk about, we know we'll always need public safety in one way, shape, or form, and we will always need some form of law enforcement. But when the budget is so much in that direction, I was just sitting here reflecting as a native Lexingtonian, and I'm recognizing when I was a young person in the summertime, being a native of Lexington, every park in Lexington, virtually just about every public park, had park directors. They had two of them that worked full time all throughout the summer. And most of these people were teachers. So they were professional people that already had training and working with your kids. They had programming that they did in every park all summer long. And those were the kinds of things that gave young people something very constructive to do, something that would even enhance their overall learning, going back to school. And then we had a system whereby the city, through a youth government entity with Black youth in particular, were employed by the city, and they distributed lunches and did other constructive things in our parks. And we don't have any of that anymore because we haven't funded it. And so one of the key things that we need everybody, Black, white, brown, everybody, to understand is these situations are really symptoms of economic problems, economic disparities. We need our city, we need UK, we need Fayette County Schools and our private sector to get on board with getting serious about how we do business with minority businesses as well. All of those things fit together, and the economics is really at the root of what's ailing us.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break and come right back.